G-Force Friday. Tom Ginn here. G is for gratitude. I'm so grateful for this moment. When we understand the power of gratitude and incorporating in our lives, it changes our perspective. It eliminates negativity. In any obstacle we have in our life, when we go to a place of gratitude, we're in control. And so I believe gratitude is one of the most powerful words and concepts you can apply in your life. And today, I am super grateful for my guest that's coming on, which I'll be introducing here in a moment. And I just want to, before I introduce our guest, I just want to reinforce what we've been covering the last several days, last 2 weeks, that gratitude works. The principles of that, the science behind it. I highly encourage you to look into that book. Next week, we're jumping back into the gratitude principles every day, 15 to 20 minutes, covering some principles about gratitude. But today, the focus is on my guest. And I'm going to bring him in right now. I'm going to introduce you to Dan Altmire. Dan, thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I have a lot of gratitude already.
Thank you. Dan, I'll just sort of open it up here a little bit, how we've connected. And I think it's important to understand, what we're doing here with streaming and bringing a message out there. I always like to give gratitude to those that are influencing my life, not just on a personal basis in business and those type of things. I want to give a shout out to somebody we're both familiar with. This is how we've linked together, is through Ken Wall's program, Grow Live Academy. I'll put the mug over here, Grow Live Academy. So I want to do that is because he's helping me grow, and I'm so grateful for that. He's got me through fear dealing with this camera, going out there into the world, sharing a message, which I have a passion for, but reluctant to do it. So I owe a lot of gratitude for the people like Ken Walls and the people in our Grow Live Academy and Mark Gassard, who introduced me. And we have collaborated together, started another program called Elevate Your Profits. And, I believe we'll have you on that program as well. But today it's all about you. And Dan, just share with the audience a little bit about yourself, your background, where do you live? I mean, just a little bio of yourself, what you're doing now, and then we'll jump into some specific things that I want to focus in with you today. So it's all yours, my friend.
All right. Well, as Bill Cosby once said, I started out as a child. Okay. But seriously, folks. Anyway, my work journey has been a long journey. I started out driving a taxi cab to work my way through college. I think I learned more from my passengers than I did from my teachers, my instructors in college. But that led me to get a job at the brand new local bus system in Montgomery County, Maryland, where I still live today. And I signed on as a bus driver for $2.86 an hour, a big increase from my cab driving income. And they would pay for college classes. So it was a great deal. Through an amazing set of circumstances and everything else, within.
Dan, you're frozen up on me, my friend. Can you hear me? Thumbs up if you hear me.
I hear you. I'm moving on my camera.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of video lag here, so maybe just holding still might be a benefit there.
Okay. So anyway, as I was saying, I ended up running operations manager for half of a bus system for about 12 years. And I was also, I'm always kind of an overachiever. And so I was part-time doing real estate. And my clients kept coming to me and asking me for investment advice. And I'd say, oh, sure. Do you want to buy a house or a townhouse or multi-unit? They go, no, I got this other investment I'm looking at. Can you help me with it? And they're like, dude, I can help you buy a bus. But I don't know if I can, if I understand those other investments. And then I'd ask them, why did they want to ask me that question? And it happened over and over again that this would happen. And the answer I always got was, because I trust you, Dan. And, so I kept getting that feedback. And one of the guys who was also working in my real estate office part-time, he was in the military, and he started taking certified financial planner courses. And he told me about that. And I said, oh, sure, there's something else I can do. And I jumped into those courses. And then at a certain point, I realized that running a bus system was not what I was called to do in the long term. It was to help other people. And so I got into the financial services business, ended up doing a lot of employee benefits. And that's what I've been doing for about the last 35 years.
Wow.
That kind of brings us to now, and maybe some changes that I'm going through right now. But certainly, as I was telling you before we started the call here, I actually had an old client call me up this morning, and we will be doing business for their employee benefit package. So so I'm still in that business, but I'm also looking at some bigger opportunities, some bigger ways to affect the world.
Great. And we'll jump into that. But I have a couple of questions for you. You made a comment. And, I believe when we look at people's lives and the path they took and what they did to get to where they're at, you said you drove a taxi or a cab. What do they call those?
Yeah.
Today would be Uber, right? Or Lyft. Or
probably.
And you mentioned something, and I think it's important. You said you learned more from your passengers than you did from your professors. Can you share a little bit some things that you learned in what I call the university of life from those people? Anything stand out?
Well, I think the thing I learned the most is people want to be listened to, not talked to. That people want, they have their own message, and if you listen to it, you're going to better understand them. And the other thing is, just do the right thing for people.
Yeah.
And if you do the right thing, people will appreciate you. And over and over and over again, I found that both at the level of interacting with my customers, my passengers, but also I was the guy who was always willing to drive 20 minutes to get a passenger that nobody else was going to go get or anything like that. And I think that all builds up over time and teaches you an important humility. You can be good at what you do, but the other part of it is that you can always be better.
Yeah, and that's a servant heart that you're speaking there of. And you said something, and you've been in the, how long you've been in the financial service, sales and marketing, and do you have your own agency, or are you a solo guy, or do you have an agency of agents that work with you?
I have a network of agents that work with me.
Okay.
I currently I am solo, and the last 25 years I've represented Aflac as a sales coordinator at different levels. Very successful and fun career with a great company with great ducks, and they. But currently, I'm kind of a free agent in the marketplace, and I'm enjoying that opportunity.
And I'm going to go back to it. You learn more, and you made a statement. It's so important. I think anybody understanding this principle improves relationships, improves our ability to connect with people, to move people to a path to agreement in the sales environment. And what you said, and it's a principle that we all want. People care what everybody's desiring, and you right now, myself, is do you see me? Do you hear? And do you care? And when we understand that innate Maslow principle, we become more effective human beings. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I'm a big Maslow guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a principle, and I think that's something that those that are out there is really dive into that and find out what that really means and how do you incorporate that, because most human beings, and I can put myself at the top of this, and Dan, maybe you can relate to it as well. We think the world that we're the center of the universe, right? Most, and I put me there, you know. But when we get out of that and move into that space, we'll always be the center of the universe in a metaphor. But the world doesn't revolve around me and my ego. And we put ourselves in other people's shoes, we become more effective. With that, who's been some of your most influential people in personal development, sales training, and then we'll get into your mission here in a minute. But I always like to get that background. Who are your influencers? What drives you? Those type of things.
Well, all the way through my my life, I've always kind of gravitated towards different people in my business, in my life, that have been certainly more successful than me at the time. To learn from them, learn from the people who've already accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish. And, all the way back to when I was driving a taxi cab, I've only been fired from any job in my life once. And I was a cab dispatcher. And I was really good at it. You talk about the world revolving around you and everything. And I went to Harry Barnes, the owner of the Barwood Taxi Cab Company.
Okay.
And I demanded a raise. I said, I'm the best dispatcher that you have. And I'll do this for you, but you need to pay me this much. See, I needed Scott Boras at this time, but to be my agent, but I didn't have that. So I've said, so I'll do this for you if you pay me this much. I think it was like $2 an hour.
You're dating yourself, Dan.
Yes, well, nobody else will. But anyway, so I demanded that money, and Harry said, "Oh, are you sure? Are you sure that's what you want?" And I said, "Yep, absolutely." And he said, "You won't take anything else?" I said, "Nope." He said, "You're fired." And I'm there, what? And he said, "You're fired. Get out of here." And I still was driving a taxi cab for him, but I wasn't a dispatcher anymore. About a week later, his wife, who also helped run the company, came out to my cab and said, "I want you to come inside and talk to Harry." And I said, "No, I'm not interested." And she said, "Do it as a favor to me." And I couldn't turn her down. So I went in, and Harry talked to me, and he said, "You were right about one thing and you were wrong about another thing." And I said, what was I right about? And he said, "You're the best dispatcher that I have." I said, okay. And he said, what? And I said, what was I wrong about? And he said, you were wrong about trying to think you're more important to my business than me. He said, you're going to be successful in your life. I know that. He said, always remember this. Nobody in your business is more important than you are. If they think they are, you need to find somebody else. And I thought that was a really great message, because I've utilized that throughout my career, and in a gentle way, not the way he does. He did. But it was a very important message. But all the way back from Harry Barnes through my transit experience with the bus system, into the sales arena, I've had a lot of different people that I've learned from and gained from. And, you know, to mention specific people would probably be a bad thing, because I would forget to mention the others. But I'm certainly, my G-force here, grateful for all that I learned from each one of those mentors and people that took time to be great examples for me along the way. But recently, I will say, then maybe we can get into this a little bit more. But you know, with the start of the pandemic and everything else, I've picked up a whole new set of mentors and a whole new amazing world of opportunities. So we can talk about that at some point if you'd like.
Oh, we'll move right there in a minute, and we'll move right there in a second. But your former boss that fired you, and he mentored and coached you.
Oh, absolutely.
He taught you the lesson of humility.
Yeah.
And got you understand that ego only has two benefits. It's either destructive, which your ego put in a destructive place, caused a consequence that you weren't looking for. Seriously. And the other side of ego is the creative side. And that's where we need to operate. So that was, I think, would you agree that was probably one of the best mentoring lessons that you had?
Well, it was certainly an early wake up call.
Yeah.
You know, having been in business for as many years as I have, I've had several great mentor experiences and wake up calls. But that was probably the most forceful one because, again, like you said, it was very foundational. And the fact that I learned I needed to tone down how much I thought I was, how great I thought I was.
Yeah. A great leader needs to learn to follow first. A great leader needs to learn how to follow first. And so anyway, Dan, everybody's been affected one way or the other. Yeah, this thing we call the COVID and the pandemic. And so what caused you, I don't like the word pivot. I like to transition. A pivot means you're usually staying in a circle. Your one foot stays in one place and just, the world becomes a whirlwind. And many times you think because you're moving, your things are changing. But what was it with the pandemic that caused you to say, I'm going to make a transition, and share with the audience what it is and where you're going, and this comment here, a man on a mission, what is this about?
Well, just one last thing back on gratitude and being learning about your ego and everything else. One of the things I did as a sales manager of a successful team of people for years and years and years was we would have a weekly sales meeting. Everybody who's been in sales has had to suffer through one of those. But before we started the meeting, I would go around the room and ask everybody what they were grateful for. Start the meeting off on a Monday morning with gratitude. Because as a salesperson, our role is to be a solution provider. And so you always have to look, no matter what's going on, what good could come of this? How can I be grateful for this? How can I make chicken salad, so to speak, out of this situation? So I always try to ingrain that, and I would have the guys or ladies and the team that would put their arms up and get all defensive and everything, and like, I don't have any. I'm grateful I woke up in the morning, but that is something to be grateful for. And so I approach pretty much everything I can in my life with that outlook that there's something good that can happen. And so when I made my change from being a sales coordinator with a great Fortune 100 company and coming out into a lot of new opportunities and new directions, then all of a sudden all the rules changed right in front of me. All the situations changed, all the access changed, all the ways that you could market changed. And I could have looked at that with great consternation, with great alarm. But I said, there's got to be a way out there. And I am grateful and thankful that I had signed up for a course in September of 2019 that Jeffrey Gitomer was doing in Florida. I happened to have a business trip. I was the president of the Greater Washington, D.C. National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, and we had our national convention down there. And while I was down there, I have some friends. I could stay a couple extra days and go over and see Jeffrey and Jen Gitomer, who I'd never met before. I've read all of Jeffrey's books, but I thought I'd check in. Well, fast forward, we get to that about 2 weeks before that, and unfortunately, they had some situations come up that they had to cancel that. But they said, hey, we'll put you into another program that we have where you will be in a virtual environment for and can have access to our whole website for a year. And normally that's whatever it would cost, and we're going to give it to you for what you paid for going to that event. And they're like, okay, that's fine. So last March, they had a webinar, and it was a 3-day event, and it was transformational for me. Just seeing all the people who were on there, not just the people who were presenting, but also the people who were at the event. And interacting with those people, all of a sudden the light bulb went off on my head, and I said, I can be with anybody that I want to be in the world. I'm not geographically confined. I'm not confined by who I know, because I met people through Jeffrey that were very instrumental in where I'm growing to now. People like Wyatt Woodsmall and Joe Soto and our friend Ken Walls, Michael Heppel in Great Britain. Amazing opportunity. And I've been getting involved in lots of online communities and learning and growing kind of like I did when I was driving my taxi cab. I'm absorbing a lot of things, and the big thing is that there are people out there all over the world that are making things happen on a positive way from the changes that are happening right now, and not waiting for somebody else to hand it to them. And my mission is to bring those people out so that people can come and find out what they're doing and be inspired by them and learn from the methodologies that they're using so that they too can take care of this problem, but the next problem and the next problem and the next problem that comes up. It's not just about getting a solution for once. The old teach a man, give a man a fish or teach a man how to fish. So women already know how to fish, so we don't have to teach them. So anyway, that's kind of the exciting time that I'm in right now, is that I'm meeting great people like you, your friend Mark Gassard, who is also in those communities. I've met so many amazing people that I would have never met a year ago if this had not happened. And each one of those people has inspired me in a different way. This is a great time. I really feel that I've grown at least 10 years in the last year.
Oh, Dan, I'm just smiling here because I'm in the same place, recognizing it through gratitude. I think gratitude, when let's sort of keep on a theme here sometimes about gratitude. When we're in a state of gratitude and we're not looking at the ending of something, we're looking at there's a good in everything and what can we learn for it, but you got to take action. And you went from a space of gratitude and you recognized what I call everybody has an element of greatness and genius in them. And when we get in an environment like you went to an event and you get around these people and you're grateful for it, and what we find out is they have hearts of servants. They're grateful. They're giving. And many times we hold ourselves back on our smallness, or I got to be perfect to get into that group. That's a little coaching thing there, buddy. So, but is this? It's changed my life. I could have rolled up in a ball. My coaching business took a big hit. People are uncertainty, didn't want to write big checks, so on and so forth. But I looked at it, and the doors opened up through the prism of gratitude, and it's put me in contact with a person of your character, your greatness. Many times we don't look at ourselves in a place of greatness, but we all have that. I love your humor and those type of things, and you've had success, and I want to gravitate to those that have success in life. It's not just the bank account and the ornaments and those type of things, but people have wisdom and experience to share. And so let's talk a little bit about that. Sort of, what's your mission? What's your new thing that you're wanting to launch or take to the world? I'm going to put this up. I went to your website, so saw your video there, and I'm going to put some stuff up here later for you. But what's the new normal, Guru? What do you want to take to the world? Who do you want to impact?
And I want to impact people who want to grow. I want to help people by highlighting folks who are being successful in transitioning, whether it be individuals or companies or businesses that are are seeing what the trends are. You and I both have financial services backgrounds.
Yes.
And I've talked to several people in leadership positions in insurance companies through my my NAFA connections and everything. And one of the things that I found is most insurance companies in a 3 to 4 month period pivoted, if you will use the word, or transitioned about 5 to 7 years in their business plan as to how they were moving in a virtual environment. The ones that didn't are the ones that aren't selling. But there are several insurance companies that grew dramatically because they changed because of the opportunity that was out there. There are lots and lots of people out there who have stories to tell, but they don't have a place to tell it. That's what the New Normal Guru is going to be, as a website, as a resource. We're also putting together courses on how to train yourself to think in that manner, with gratitude, with vision of the future, to find the solution. Anybody can identify a problem. It's identifying a workable solution that's implementable. That is the secret sauce, as they would say at McDonald's. So the New Normal Guru is a website. thenewnormal.guru is our website, and we will be posting starting in March different interviews with people. Also, we have the New Normal Guru Facebook page, where when I go out on my walks, I typically walk between something I started in the pandemic. I typically walk between 4 and 6 miles every day. Lost a lot of weight because of that. But it's great time to listen to books on tape, spend time with my wife. Now it will be time to walk my new puppy.
Oh, wow.
And it'll also be, it also is time for me to do about 2 to 3 minutes on Facebook Live of walking with the guru. And it's just a quick thought for the day. And I have several people that are regular followers. So it's just something that I'm doing. And if I can make a difference to one person, I'm happy. But hopefully it will make difference to several people.
You just made a comment there, and I hear it from what you're saying, but more importantly, what I feel, and it's understanding, the words you say, but it's the feeling and those type of things that cause people, like you said in the beginning. I think, I don't know if it was off screen or on, but people trusted you, they liked you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's a communication that is an essence of who you are, and I love what Jim Rohn says. I think it was in one of our workshops with Ken. He brought in, I forget the gentleman's name, that used to be the booking agent for Jim Rohn and all these players, right? Yeah. I forget his name. I have to apologize if he ever.
I'm bad with names. I'm great with faces.
Yeah. So apologies in advance out there. But Jim Rohn told him he was worried about having a packed house. He said, I don't care. One person. If I could just influence one person, that person can go out and influence millions.
And just one other thing that I want to bring out, and that is Jeffrey Gitomer has turned me on to a lot of old authors. Now Jeffrey's old, but I don't mean it that way.
I'm gonna share this with him today. Okay.
Okay. But he's helping me He's mentoring me right now and writing a book. And one of the things that just in his general being, I guess, is that he likes old authors. He likes Samuel Smiles. He likes James Allen, Orson Swett Martin, Napoleon Hill. And so I started reading those authors and many others from that time period. Ralph Waldo Emerson, there are a ton of them. Anyway, Ralph Waldo Trine. These people went through the same stuff that we're going through right now and have answers for today. One of the things that we always, or I won't say we because some people out there probably don't feel this way, but a lot of times it's easy for me to feel like I'm the first person to go through something, that I'm the first person that's ever had any of this. But the wisdom of people who've already gone through this, there were people who went through a pandemic that was a lot worse than this pandemic.
Absolutely.
100 years ago.
Absolutely.
There are so many different opportunities to learn from those people. Obviously, the times are different, and the solution may be somewhat different. And the tools that we have now are much greater than what they had back then. But the wisdom is still the wisdom. And a lot of times I think myself, that it has to be new. It doesn't have to be new. There's wisdom that lives through the ages, and you know, I really want to thank and give gratitude to Jeffrey Gitomer for that opportunity to learn from these great leaders also.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't mind, I'll just say something that matter of fact, was one of my clients earlier today. Is that those people you referenced there, they're speaking truth. They're speaking universal truth. And it's not man-made. I think that's where a lot of people get hung up in, is looking for a new way, and I want to create it. It's already been created by universal law. And all they're doing is articulating in their time and their space. But today, somebody else says it, the same thing. Law is the law. And where growth happens and where things take you to where you do is we operate in law. From our thinking, everything else operates by law. So it's through that awareness and understand it's not man-made. It is that universal, whoever we pray to, you call it God, the universal powers of the universe is what's calling to it. And we know it. See, that's the key. We know it when we hear it and we see it, but it's only through awareness. And those old sages that are no longer with us, people that are coming into sharing this today, they're just articulating their own language, but truth is truth. And we know it. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Dan? Absolutely. In fact, you know, sometimes it also helps me in when things happen today that may upset me. When I see Ralph Waldo Emerson talking about those things in the 1840s, the same things, I realized, you know, hey, maybe there's a solution right now. Maybe there's not a solution right now. It was going on in 1840. So, just deal with it. And so, you know, it gives you a lot of perspective. And I've always been a student of history. But you know, now more and more with the great authors, and like you talked about also Maslow and you know, Jung, and trying to figure out what the heck's going on in here, and how, if I can identify that, maybe I can help a couple other people. I'm not trying to be a psychiatrist.
Well, either am I. My mentor and stuff is probably one of the
You
most
froze.
influential people in the world of understanding the mind. You only got a high school education. The mind is the most complicated thing that we know in our universe, the human mind, right? We
Yeah.
can't comprehend its power, its potential, anything like that. But when we understand some very basic, simple principles of how it works, and it's a powerful thing, and that's what I teach. I'm going to just throw this up real quick, Dan. It's sort of a plug of what I'm teaching, but it might reinforce. We think in pictures, right? The mind is not the brain, right? Our mind is energy. How do you see it? And I'm just going to bring this up. And anybody ever wants to talk to me, or you want to talk about this at another time, I'm just going to bring this up. Dan, that is you. That's your mind and how it works. And that's what I teach, is that people to understand how to move from a negative state, worry, fear, all the way through disease to the positive side by understanding this one little principle. So I wanted to put that out there, Dan. You're what I call an unconscious competent.
Yeah, my wife just says that I'm unconscious.
Well, men generally are. We'll just have some fun with it. We run around this world with a whole different frame of reference in most things than a woman. You know, that book, what is it? Men are from women. And what is it? The title of that book? I forget it. Mars or whatever.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we are definitely wired differently. But our minds work exactly the same as far as how we deal with things. So, but Dan, with regard to your business and your launching of your the new guru, so who's your audience? I'm sure you're looking for people who want to take advantage of your programs, your teaching, and that. Who else are you looking for? That are you looking for people to build in your team with, or those type of things, that people that can plug into you, find out what you're doing, see
Well,
if. Did I put you on the spot?
I appreciate you asking that question. Nope. I'm looking right now. I'm looking to be a reference, a resource. We're in development of some courses that we'll be offering, and that will work both on the individual level, but also on the business level. They're still in development right now, so I just want to bring value to people, and then if they find that the value that we brought helps them as we roll out these other courses and resources, then at that point they can take advantage of it. So I want to be a value giver, and if people want to jump in and find out more, then that's great. If it's not their cup of tea, that's okay for me too. But what I will tell you is that I am looking for people to interview who are making things happen in the new normal, who are making that transition, who are finding ways to benefit themselves, benefit other people through the changes that are happening in our society. And the changes are dramatic. It's not just around the COVID and technology, but there's lots of really good things that are happening in our society, and we need to. I want to highlight those in my interviews, and again, be a resource for people to watch what other people are doing, so they can learn from that. Learn from somebody like yourself, Tom, or other people who have made a whole new direction for themselves, or enhanced the direction that they were going. and also, you know, people who are seeking something new, like something new that's something old, like Samuel Smiles, like Orison Swett Martin. Uh, you know, looking for a place where they can find resources for that, and then hopefully at some point when I release my book later on this year, maybe they'll want to read my book too.
Dan, I'm really anxious and excited to, not anxious, excited, anxious. I don't know where that came from. I'm not anxious. If I was writing a book, I'd be anxious. That's probably where I was going. I've written one book, Dan, 63 pages, so, but it's about how debt robs your wealth building strategies. It's sort of a wake up call, breaking the myth of debt and how good debt is. And it's actually a devastator, emotionally,
yes,
financially for people. But anyway, yeah, I really look forward to, excited to get your book and find out more about it and support you any way I can in that, and support and help you in any way I can around your mission of helping people. So, anything else you'd like to share? I mean, we could probably banter back and forth for quite a while and get diving deep into metaphors and philosophies and those type of things. But any one thing you might want to leave the audience. I'm going to put up some information here so people want to reach out to you. This is, of course, going out to my Facebook and my YouTube channels and all that good stuff. But so they can contact you. But any parting words or anything that you'd like to leave the audience with?
Well, Tom, even though I like to make jokes a lot, and hey,
Kellen, thank you for jumping on, sweetheart. She's an awesome lady.
She sure is. She makes cards that go wow.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I've had her on as a guest as well. So brings a whole different energy to showing a true essence of a giving heart and a loving heart. She's a great example.
Also a person who has definitely found new opportunities in the in this new normal. So anyway, as I was going to say, I like to joke around and everything else, but I don't like to bore people. From that great sage of, one of the people that I listen to a lot, George Costanza.
Love it.
Leave on a high note. So I unless you have other questions for me, I don't want to just drone on here.
Wonderful. I'm so grateful to have you here, get to know you, in our group and our tribe that we're hanging with. We'll be crossing paths on a very frequent basis in many ways, support each other. I know I'm there to support you and in your mission because we're in alignment. And so I'm so grateful to have you on today. And I'm going to put you in the green room, as they say in our language, I guess, on streaming. Enjoy the M&Ms, and I'm just going to put you back. Hold on just for a few minutes. I'm going to sign.
Do you have cold cuts there? Do you have cold cuts in the green room?
Oh, I didn't. Was that the fine language in the contract?
Yes. Yeah. And Fuji water.
Fuji water. Oh, love your humor. Hey, I just want to put this up. This is how people can get a hold of you to find out more about what you're doing. If you're looking for contributors, I'm just going to put this up here. They know how to get a hold of you. So I'm going to put that up. That's how you get a hold of Dan. His email, his website, everything.
That's holding the guru logo there. So
yeah. I love it. Great branding, my friend. That's great branding, from a business guy's eye. So Uh, you got my attention with that for sure. So, Dan, I'm going to put you in the green room. Enjoy the candy, the M&Ms, and I'll be right back with you.
Thank you so much, Tom. It's been a pleasure, and again, I am grateful for you and the show. Thanks.
Thank you. My honor. Dan Altmire, that was fun. Really enjoyed our conversation today and what he shared. And today, I just want to leave this parting thought. Is the threads of your thought create the garments you wear. The threads of your thoughts create the garments you wear. Understand your first thoughts. So with that all said, is with gratitude. Share this out. In the event you ever want to get a hold of me, I'm going to put up my banners here. How to reach out to me. You have any questions about gratitude, or you feel like you're stuck looking for getting questions answered about what is coaching, what is mentoring. There's two distinct differences. I'm a mentor, not a coach. I'm a mentor. Taking the wisdom of other and help you guide you through what I've come to learn, mentor you through my processes and my growth patterns, and hopefully I can help you. So with that all said, today is G-Force Friday. Gratitude, the most important word that you can incorporate in your life. It negates negativity. And this moment is the best moment of my life, because what happened today definitely influenced tomorrow. With that all said, have a great day. We are signing out. G-Force. See you Monday. We're going to get back into the book.